Hello and welcome to another episode of Carrot Juice. I am your host, Monte Lee. I hope everybody's doing great out there, enjoying their day. This is episode 22, and we're going to get it started off a little bit like this. Before we do that, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast. Please like and share. And for everyone listening on YouTube, make sure that you like the video. You lend me a BMW if you haven't already. A BMW is if you believe in my work, show me some love, like, share, subscribe for the algorithm, all that good stuff. So we're going to get right into it here. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about today was the big Blue Origin story and launch that's happening this week. So apparently billionaires are going to space in droves. If you haven't heard already, Richard Branson, who was the founder of the Virgin Mobile empire, successfully went into outer space. I believe it was 2 weeks ago for a brief period with his Virgin Galactic company and all their innovations. And today is July 20th. And according to this article from ABC News, Blue Origin launch live updates. Watch Jeff Bezos' historic spaceflight. So apparently, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is set to blast to the edge of space and spend a few minutes outside Earth's atmosphere Tuesday on the first crew flight from his firm Blue Origin. So the milestone launch in the modern commercial space race comes on the 52nd anniversary of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin's moon landing in 1969, though the spacefaring landscape has evolved by giant leaps since then as billionaires emerge as key players driving the new race to the cosmos. So all of a sudden, it's like billionaires are going to outer space like it's a commercial flight. This is crazy. I never thought I'd see the day where, billionaires were just like, yeah, I'm going to create my own company and I'm going to be going into outer space so easily. It's really insane, the innovation and how far they have come recently with being able to do what they're doing. This is jarring and it's really impressive. My only caveat and my only concern with this new trend would be, I understand that money and influence gets you a lot of options, but are people who have money going to be the only people ever to be able to experience this innovation? I know that there's privilege that comes with having resources and having money. However, if it's only rich and wealthy people being able to experience this, I feel like that would be a waste. Hopefully they have at least the ability to, have a couple of tickets for researchers and scientists, or for like a normal everyday person to possibly get the chance to go into outer space at some point through like a lottery or something like that, because I already know they're going to be charging an arm, a leg, 2 kidneys, half a lung to get these tickets. No doubt about it. So the article goes on to say that liftoff of the inaugural Blue Origin flight is scheduled for 9 a.m. from a rural complex just north of Van Horn, Texas. And we have some updates on the flight and stuff right now. So this was 9:23. So capsule lands back on Earth after approximately 10-minute journey. The capsule floated back down to the Earth via a parachute and touched down at approximately 9:23 a.m. It was so amazing. It was so amazing. Damon can be heard saying upon landing. So they did it. They successfully made it happen. Jeff Bezos and 3 passengers returned to Earth after a historic flight to edge of space. Wow. So They have footage of everything that happened on ABC News. So apparently this is a historic day, and they're going to have more commercial flights in the future at a hefty price. So yeah, some history when it comes to space and innovation and exploration. And it's really cool. As a young kid, I always was drawn to space and learning about the planets and learning about stars and solar systems and galaxy. And even to this day, I'm a huge science fiction buff. Science fiction movies, some of my favorite movies ever are the Alien movies. All of them. Sigourney Weaver. I'm talking about like the first two were amazing. After that, they got kind of shaky, but you can't beat Alien 2. So anytime I see people doing this, going outer space and space exploration and experiencing that weightlessness, it kind of reminds me of when I was a kid and when my joy for just knowing about the universe and space and time and how everything interacts and just feeling so small looking up at the stars, it kind of brings me back to that time, and it's a beautiful thing. So we're going to move on from there to the next topic, and I wanted to spend some time on this topic. So, courtesy of TMZ, we have quite the story here, guys. So, Tulsa's most wanted woman gets herself busted after asking on Facebook posts about reward money. This article was posted on TMZ on July 19th. And the article begins by saying, if the show America's Dumbest Criminals is ever revived, it's got prime content courtesy of a woman in Oklahoma who got herself arrested after commenting on Tulsa PD's most wanted Facebook post about her whereabouts. You got that right. So here's the deal. Tulsa PD posted that Lorraine Graves as the weekly most wanted for accessory to murder in a homicide that went down earlier this year. Graves' comment was about the reward money. She asked, where's the reward money at? Not smart to say the least. You commented on your own most wanted post on Facebook. The post was quickly flooded with comments from others, including a woman who said, "Girl, you better stay off social media. They can track you!" Exclamation point, exclamation point. Mm-hmm. A man responded, "Ain't gonna be as funny when you get processed." The post drew around 1,200 comments. Where is the common sense? That's all I gotta say. So the day after the post, cops say detectives tracked down Graves and arrested her and charged her with accessory to murder. Her bond's been set at $500K. So there were two other suspects previously arrested earlier in the year and were reportedly hit with murder charges for a shooting that killed a 30-year-old man at an apartment complex. As for the reward money, there was a Facebook commenter wondering the same thing because the person asked, well, did she get her reward money? And just a guess, hell No. So I wanted to talk about this because the pull and the draw of social media is so strong that even that it caused a woman to post on social media on a post from the police that's her most wanted, where they're trying to figure out where she is. And she commented on it and asked them where the reward money at. Like she was going to get reward money for turning herself in. You can't make this stuff up. This lacks all common sense. Like the amount of attention and just lack of awareness you have to go that far to just completely not think about how you look in this situation. It's really ridiculous. So all I have to say is get off of social media, some of y'all. You're not the smartest to begin with. And then you're compounding it by looking for attention and seeking attention on social media. And I'm glad she was caught if she was associated with that murder, I will say. But goodness gracious, how stupid can you be? Wow. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about that. And the second story I wanted to talk about here is courtesy of Blog Plug. And it's captioned, "Father records daughter wildly disrespecting him on the phone." So I wanted to play this and then and then react to it. So here we go here.
But dang, how you doing today?
Good, I don't want to talk.
Why you always tell me that?
Because I don't like talking to you. I don't like talking to you.
But you won't even let me ask the question before you try to answer.
You just said, how are you? You just said, how are you?
Oh my goodness, Demi, why you so rude to your daddy?
I don't like talking to you.
But that doesn't give you a reason to be rude. You gotta honor your mother and your father, sweetheart.
Okay, I don't want to talk.
I get that much, but you don't have to be rude about it.
I said I don't want to talk.
I know that. I heard you the first 4 times, but you still need to stop being rude. That's the whole thing about it.
I'm telling you something and you're not listening.
Because I'm the parent, you can't tell me nothing. That's the thing.
I can express my feelings.
You definitely can, but you can do that without being rude as well. That's the whole thing. That's the key.
Okay,
You don't be rude and you don't be disrespectful. Okay, but you don't have to talk over me
I don't
either.
want to talk.
But you don't have to talk over me. So if you don't want to talk and you're going to talk over me, you could just be quiet and... Hello?
I don't.
You could just be quiet and let me say what I got to say. You get that from your mama. But I love you and I miss you anyway.
Goodbye.
Just be quiet.
Wow. There was a lot there. And that is hard to hear. I just feel sorry for that brother. How does it get to a point with your daughter where she could be so disrespectful to you? Clearly, it looks like there's some influence from the people that she's around. We'll just say that is causing her to not have respect for her own dad. And one thing that I'm seeing a lot is the single parent household, single parents raising one another, raising the kids, pardon. When the single parent talks bad about that child's parent, I don't think they really know how much it affects them. It really doesn't only affect them in the moment, in their interactions with their parent in the present day. It also, if it's not corrected and addressed through therapy at some point, because they're not being demonstrated healthy relationships in a healthy functioning home, it affects them moving on when they start dating and going into high school, into college, and ultimately become adult because they never got to see what the healthy relationship was like demonstrated day to day. So that was just hard to see. I saw it on social media, and man, that child sounded like she was no older than like maybe 8 or 9, and she was talking to her pops like that. So as a culture, we got to do better at having. You can not be with somebody and you could still be cordial, and you could still treat them with respect and not demean your significant other that you're not no longer with, especially if there's children in play. I don't have any kids, but far too often people demean the other parent to their children, and then their children have view significant others, view people that they're in a relationship with through a lens that's negative, and it only hurts the child at the end of the day. And we got to stop that pattern, especially in the Black community, because far too often there's too many single parent households where healthy relationships aren't being demonstrated on the day to day. And that's part of the reason why there's so many single mothers, single children that have never seen what a healthy marriage and relationship looks like. And at the end of the day, if we don't call out this stuff and realize that it's not okay, you cannot be with somebody and still treat them with respect. Now, if the person is not worthy of any respect and isn't doing anything to take care of their kids, that's a whole nother thing. But clearly that brother was trying to speak to his daughter, trying to continue to have a relationship with her, and he was not given the respect that he was looking for in that situation, which is hard because there's so many people that say, well, my father walked away and my father doesn't want to be in my life. He wants to be in that child's life. So I just wanted to highlight that you can really affect your children by the way that you interact with them and by the way you talk about their parents. So just be mindful of that. So yeah, I wanted to talk about those things. And I also wanted to talk about just do another check-in. I've been liking the change of pace with how I'm putting together this show and this podcast. And I wanted to talk about the state of the country right now, especially when it has to do with all of these natural disasters through the fires that are going on. So the last topic that I wanted to talk about today, I don't know if you guys have heard, but according to CNN, there's a huge fire going on in the Oregon area right now. So this article was published by CNN today, July 20th at 9:01 a.m. And it's entitled, "The Bootleg Fire in Oregon is so large, it's creating its own weather." So as hot, dry weather conditions continue to fuel wildfires across much of the United States, the bootleg fire in Oregon has become so intense that it is creating its own weather. The bootleg fire has scorched 537 square miles and an area larger than Los Angeles and about half the size of Rhode Island. It grew to nearly 364,000 acres Monday and is 30% contained, according to the Oregon Department of Forestry spokesperson Marcus Kaufman. So I didn't even hear about this fire because it had been so many different fires going on in the West Coast. I know over the past couple of years, I haven't even heard about this. I also haven't been on the news crazy like that. I kind of take my time and I source some of the topics that I talk about, but I had to take a break from the news, like watching the news, because so much of the news for the past couple of years had all been about like Trump or whatever. And the media and the way they've handled getting actual news out has been questionable at best. So I've been trying to be more diligent in sourcing my own news and coming up with my own opinion. So I haven't been watching the news broadcast per se. But let's go on with this article. So it's one of at least 8 large fires burning in Oregon and one of at least 80 burning across 13 states. According to the National Interagency Fire Center, the climate crisis has made deadlier and more destructive wildfires the new normal. So much of the West remains under the threat of fire conditions Tuesday, with nearly 3.5 million people under red flag warnings, according to a tweet from the National Weather Service Weather Prediction Center. A red flag warning means critical fire weather conditions are either occurring now or will shortly, according to the Prediction Center. So I did hear about this. There's been excessive heat warnings, which will continue for more than 337,000 people, and nearly 650,000 more are under a heat advisory. I have heard about that on the West Coast, that there's been like record heat waves for like the past couple of weeks. What I want to know and what I need to, I guess, be more educated about is what are we doing per se that is causing these changes in the climate, according to these researchers and environmentalists? Because what my response to that would be, hasn't the earth just through millennia, through over the years, always changed climates no matter what? Because if I recall correctly, there was an ice age where most of the world, or big sections of it, were frozen, and blizzard-like conditions, blizzard type conditions, very cold. There were woolly mammoths, all that, in areas right now that are tropical. And over thousands of years, millions of years, or what have you, whatever way you want to slice it, eventually the climates changed and have become tropical, become deserts, what have you. So is it global warming from our carbon footprint, or is it just the cycle of the earth? My response to that would be, I believe that we do have some impact on it, but I believe that a lot of the things that are happening right now are just the natural flow of things that are going to happen regardless. Because when I see these natural disasters, I see these rapid changes in weather and changes in climate over regions over time. I think that it's just the earth healing itself. It's just the earth going through its natural rhythm and, in a way, protecting itself. If it's an area that's been highly populated over so much time, it has to protect itself in some way. And I think about it like sharecropping, like agriculture. Like, if you continue to plant the same plant, I'm not a farmer, but I believe if you continue to plant the same crop in the same soil over and over again, eventually the nutrients in the soil will not produce a good harvest. So that's why they rotate crops. I think, and my theory is, the earth is doing that to itself. It is these phenomena, these natural disasters are causing shifts in where people are, where infrastructure is, things like that, to heal itself in a way. Because if I remember correctly, fire, even though it's devastating at its onset, it actually like invigorates growth and helps plant life and nutrients of the soil eventually. So I think there's something there, and there's something about all of these phenomenon of these like lightning storms and all this fire on the West Coast. If I'm somebody that's living on the West Coast, I think it's time to consider leaving, moving somewhere where it's not fires and earthquakes and landslides. I mean, at what point do you continue to live in an area where it's these constant fires? I would be afraid to build and establish roots on that coastline, because do these places, I don't know, do they get fire insurance? Because that's something that you would have to have. Who's insurance insuring? Excuse me. Who's insuring these houses after all of these crazy infernos over the past couple of years? Like, the insurance rates over there have to be insane. So I just wanted to bring this to light because it's been a constant pattern, I think. So let's go on with the article. Temperatures in the region will remain up to 10 degrees above normal over the next 48 hours, according to CNN meteorologist Michael Guy. There's also a chance of dry storms, which lack the precipitation that it desperately needed to help calm the flames. So while some sporadic rain is possible across the Intermountain West, this is not really going to do much in the way of fighting any of the wildfires out west. Some rain may fall from afternoon storms, but it might not be enough to stop or put out the fires that are ongoing. So according this bootleg fire is changing the weather. A satellite image posted by the Weather Service shows smoke from the fires in Western Canada and the Intermountain West billowing over the region. So as the sun sets across the central and eastern United States this evening, smoky skies filled the horizon due to distant wildfires burning across Western Canada and the Intermountain West. Yeah, they got a picture up and it's literally like the cloud is gray from space. That's nuts. They're calling these pyrocumulus clouds, and they form when extreme heat from the flames of a wildfire force the air to rapidly rise, condensing and cooling any moisture on smoke particles produced by the fire. These clouds essentially become their own thunderstorms and can contain lightning and strong winds. The fire is so large and generating so much energy and extreme heat that it's changing the weather. Normally, the weather predicts what the fire will do. In this case, the fire is predicting what the weather will do. And that, along with the prolonged drought, is also fueling the fire conditions. And Kaufman anticipated the massive blaze will continue to grow. So the fire is burning dense fuels that are extremely dry from a prolonged drought. Up until today, the weather has been consistently hot, dry, with near single-digit humidity. So even though all of that is happening, the bootleg fire, I don't know who named that, but the bootleg fire is the third largest fire in state history. Wow. So I hope everybody is staying safe on the West Coast. I think a lot of people are evacuating at this point. And it's a dangerous situation happening over there. So take care of yourselves, everybody. It's probably in your best interest to consider relocation if you're on that West Coast area. Just a thought, because it seems like this is a pattern that's going to continue to happen, at least for the foreseeable future, unless they get fire retardant homes. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. So this has been another episode of Karat Juice. I appreciate you guys for listening. Take care of yourselves. Do something good for somebody, not expecting anything in return. Hug somebody, love somebody, eat some good food. I know I am. It's Tuesday, so tacos are in my future. So with that being said, take care of yourselves, be well, and I'll speak to you guys next week.